All right, ladies and gentlemen, today we are going to do our symbol brainstorming. So we're going to come up with some symbols that are going to be used on our tree of life. So first, make sure you remember that a symbol is an image. It is not a word. So you want to make sure that as you're getting down to this bottom section, you're just using images and not words. So what are some activities you like to do? What are some things you have a talent for? Part of your tree of life is going to involve things about you. So you're going to want to think about some things like sewing. I like to play video games. I like to take photographs. I like to cook. Once you come up with that list, move on to question 2. What are some things that make you think of family? You could write on here. You could write things that you do as a family. You could write things that you like, kind of holidays you celebrate. Maybe some of those things you discussed with your parents as homework. So for me, family means we always go to museums together. We like to visit like Civil War battlefields. We go hiking a lot. And what else do I think of when I think of family? So you want to think, don't just write home, because home doesn't help you come up with any images about your family. I think making things, because I make things a lot with my dad. Instruction. All right. So now that I've kind of got my brain working, I've got my brain thinking about things that I like to do and things that I do as a family. Now I'm going to move down to the bottom section. This first box of 6 are things about me. So they're things that represent me. So I could easily take these 4 things and just draw them. So if I'm drawing video games, I can draw a video game controller. And they can be pretty simple drawings. They don't have to be detailed. I would not draw a stick figure doing something. I would rather draw what the stick figure would be doing. For example, I wouldn't draw a person sitting at a sewing machine for sewing. I could just draw the sewing machine. Or I could even make it even simpler and draw a needle and thread. Now remember, this page is just ideas, so they don't have to be perfect drawings. If you want to use your cell phone to look up some images to work from, you can do that, but you need to fill all 6 of these boxes. I'm not going to make you watch me fill up all of them. Then you're going to do images that represent your immediate family. These are the people that live in your household. So your mother, father, sisters, brothers. I'm an only child, but I would do mother, father, and maybe something that, for me, that would represent like my husband or my son. So for me, something that represents my dad is a hammer, because my dad likes fixing things. And I learned how to make things from my dad. So drawing a hammer represents my dad. I could also do something that represents one of these things up here. So like hiking, I could draw something like a path with trees. So it doesn't have to be a perfect drawing. Trying to think of something else. So maybe something that represents my son. Like right now, he's obsessed with stacking cups. So if I draw like a little tower of cups. My husband does a lot of work on a computer, so for him I would do maybe draw a computer. So you see, I'm just kind of brainstorming some ideas that might represent members of my family that are close to me. The last section. Now you also need to fill all of these boxes. Now you could jump around like I am, so you could kind of do what you can think of right away and move on to the next section, come back. But you will not be able to move on to the next one until all of these are done. So the last section here is your extended family. This is your aunts, your uncles, your grandparents, any ancestors or ancestry. So, for example, my great-grandparents came to the U.S. from Canada, so maybe I would draw like the Canadian flag. Maybe I know I have Cherokee ancestry, so maybe I'll have to do a Google image search and find something for Cherokee. So I might just write myself a little note here so that I'm drawing things that are coming to me right away, but things that I know I want to look up later. I'm trying to think. What else? Something that represents, for me, something that represents my grandfather was his couch, because he always sat on this couch, and I always remember going up to him, and we'd all sit in front of the couch, and he'd comment. So try to keep these people out of these images. You want these to be images that represent things. Now, for example, a couch, if somebody else sees a couch, they might not necessarily know I'm talking about my grandfather, and that's okay. That makes this tree of life thing something a little bit more personal. So some of these symbols may be personal. They don't have to be universal symbols, but if I look at it, I know what it stands for. Okay? So go back, complete your symbol sheet.